So we're gonna do, I wanted to do it live, but obviously we never have reception. So a lot of people have asked about tracking stuff and game recovery stuff. I haven't been doing a ton of it. We've got about a month left till our season starts. It's a great time to get older dogs that have tracked before into tracking shape, get them going. I don't like tracking every day. I don't like tracking every week. Well, once a week maybe. But I think it takes a lot out of the dogs, mentally and physically. So I don't mind laying trails and simulating actual trails and making them challenging, maybe once a week, especially leading up to the season. But I don't do them every day, but I will do scent stuff. I've been doing some things with some of our tracking dogs that aren't tracking. Scented tennis balls and big cover. I got a big chunk of woods here. I've been pitching and salting balls into this area and having them hunt them out. Those are all nose drills, but don't take the idea of putting together a complete track, because I think that's mentally draining. So that's my opinion. When I'm going to lay this track right now, and I'm actually doing it for Spry, and Spry hasn't done that many. She's been on 3 or 4 good tracks. She's responded really well. So we're going to do another one today, but I'm going to film it. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start that little puppy Moja on one. So one of the things I do, I'm going to put the blood trail scent. Now this hide you can see how loose it is. This is a piece of real hide that we use. When I first got it, I put it in water. Look way back in our Facebook stuff. I did a video on it, but you just soak it in water, let it rehydrate. So I did that with this one. Then when I'm done with it, when you buy it from us, it's been fleshed and dried, just like a processed tan. It's not going to spoil. But to get those scents working again, I rehydrate it. So I soak it in water, let it get to this, like this feel again, this soft, flexible. Then when I'm done with it, I put it in a Ziploc bag and I throw it in the freezer and I freeze it. So then when I need it, I take it back out and I thaw it out just like I did this one. So this took 15 minutes to thaw out. It's a relatively warm day. So I'll add either liquid scent to it, which I put a few drops of that on, and then I'm going to put this on. Now I'm putting more scent on this one because it's for Spry, and Spry's pretty young. If this were Taylor, if I were doing this for Taylor or Ellie, I might back off. I might not use as much. People ask, how much scent do you use? It depends on the conditions more than anything. Conditions and the age of the dog and the experience of the dog. So we're not testing our dogs. We're training them. So I want to set them up for success. So I'm bringing out what they naturally do, and that's just a little natural track. So I'm going to take this. Here's what I got for the end. My dogs are retrievers. They're driven by retrieve. I had a person message me about food and motivate. Their dog's not motivated by food. How do I get them to track? My dogs aren't motivated by food when it comes to tracking either. I think they're motivated by the idea of this is a long-distance game of retrieve. It's a challenge to them. Dogs like jobs. And when I give them a job, they feel a sense of satisfaction. I give them a lot of praise. Consequently, they're pretty happy about it. So my dogs track because they naturally use their nose. I give them the idea of there's something at the end that he wants me to find, and when I find it, mine get a retrieve and or a lot of praise. So this is set up. I use this actually in some of our drills, our scent drills. It's a hide. It's the hide, the exact same size that we use for our tracking here, for laying the trail, but I only use this one to lay the trail. This one I wrap around this hide. What I did was I hydrated it, I wrapped it around, and I let it dry in the sun. And now it keeps that shape. I put a little tape on it to keep it on there. But I'll do scent drills with this. I'll do find it commands with it. So at the end of the retrieve, I pitch it, and my dog gets something. So they found something. So they got that sense of satisfaction and reward. Another thing I don't mind doing is I don't mind taking this. This is our blood trail scent. It's the liquid in a stick form. I don't mind putting a little dab on my boot. Remember, we're not testing, we're training. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to pick a spot that I know where I'm going to start. That's where that hit site is going to be. That's where my dog's going to start collecting clues. And then I'm going to go down about 60, 70 yards. I'm going to make a turn. I'm going to go back down, so there's going to be 190-degree turn. I'm going to probably make some soft curves down a stretch that's about, I don't know, it's 200 yards. I'm not going to go the full length. And then there's another trail that comes out. I'm going to come off of that trail, and then I'm going to go off of that trail and into the woods. Just like a deer that was hit will oftentimes take a trail for a while, and then they're going to veer off of it. So I need the dog to start being able to recognize. So remember, it's Spry. So that I don't want to challenge. I don't want her to fail. So I'm going to go down. I'm going to make a 90. I'm going to make a couple soft turns. I'm going to make a 90 and another 90, and then we'll be in on it. So wind is coming like this. So it's going to work well for her to work into the wind, then she's going to have the wind at her back, and she's going to have a crosswind, and then she's going to finish into the wind, is if the wind stays true. So total is probably going to be 200 yards, 150, 200 yards total. So I'm going to have Mason. I got Mason with me. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this today too, is I got help. He's going to follow me, and then we're going to age it. I'm actually going to come back, and I'm going to do a little fire. There's a guy that I watched that he calls them, I think he calls them like fire tracks or something. But he's into like, he trains a lot of police dogs for tracking people. But we're going to get the little puppy Moja, and we're going to have her run some little short tracks after this and catch it. And then what we're going to do is that's going to give time for this to age, and then we'll come back. So it'll be an hour before we have Spry tracking. So I'm going to start it right here. Keep up with me, Mace, so they can hear, because if I turn, it doesn't sound like it. So I'm going to start it right here, and I'm going to know it because I've got this little apple tree. So this is where I think it's important for you to understand. Remember where I don't mark my trails. Some guys ribbon their trails, and if you get into more long ones through thicker cover, maybe there's value in that. But my dogs, for the level they're at right now, I'll remember this is where I started. I'll have a turn there. One thing I want to do is I'm going to grab this scent. I'm going to grab this bottle of the liquid blood trail because at the corners, I like to help my dog out. So I'll put a couple drops there to slow them down so that they don't have a tendency to run through it. So follow me. We'll trail this. Now here we come across, I just mowed this lawn today. So nice short grass, it's going to be probably pretty easy tracking. Now I get into a little bit taller grass. That's a transition for the dog. It'll be different. The scent will work differently through there. Not necessarily worse, but it's going to be a change. So I like having those changes. I like going through cover. So you're going to see that we do that. So this is the first little transition. Now this is where I'm talking about, we went a straight line. Now I'm making a 90-degree turn. So what I do is I help my pup out. So in order to do that, I'll put a couple drops here. This will help slow that dog down to go, whoa, it's really hot here. And hopefully they slow down and they start to figure out, okay, where's this going from here? So this is that first turn. I'm going to get a little bit of a soft turns in. With an older dog, some of the times what I'll do is I'll actually just pick this up and carry it 10 yards. So there's breaks in the track for them. There's breaks in the trail. But with Spry, I just want success. And I want to build that confidence. So here's another little soft turn. And what'll be real interesting is how she works this trail. How does she... My dogs are air centers. They don't necessarily put their nose to the ground always. A lot of times they'll get downwind of wherever that scent is and they'll work into it and they'll work into it and they'll work into it. It's just a style of dog that I have. I've got dogs they're going to win through the air. They're not going to necessarily put their nose to the track. So it'll be interesting to see how she works the turn. Where I'm going to make that turn the next 90. I'm going to go back. I got a little bit of a trail. It's overgrown a little bit, but I'm going to come through here, soften that up for her this turn, hopefully catch her. I'll do this too. I'll drag it around, put it on some of this high grass. But here's my turn. Here's another soft turn that I'm going to make now. the temptation for a lot of dogs would be when they came in and they made that first turn, instead of following back out and coming around, they might cut the corner here. I don't know if she will or not. I want to see. But depending on where the wind is, there's potential that the wind could swirl and she could catch wind and jump the track to this. I don't necessarily want her doing that, but I'm not going to correct her this young. I'm using this to learn to read Spry's body language. So I'm going to keep coming into this trail here. And then I'm going to go right through here. So I picked this little spot here where I'm going to shoot in off of it. This is where that deer gets off the trail and goes into the thick stuff to die. So I come into here, and then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that reward for her. I'm going to put that there. So I pull this up now. Now here's the other thing that is the reason why we did this, is because obviously I know where we're at, and I can go out this way and get on the road and get back to the starting point. So when the dog comes through here, it isn't crossing, we're not crossing the path going back to the house. So you always got to kind of think about how you're going to get back. So we come back out here and we exit this way with no scent clues or minimal scent clues. I got my boots, but she's going to zip into there more than likely. And now we age that. So now what I'm going to do is, normally this goes right back into the Ziploc bag and into the freezer. Come on, Louise, with me. But what we're going to do is, I'm going to pull the puppy out, Moja. We're going to film that separately and show you what we did when we first started with Spry. And we did it live, so you could go back and see what we did with Spry. I've done several tracks with her, a few tracks with her since, but wasn't able to go live because of connection. So we're recording this one. So we'll go back, we'll get Moja. I'll film that separate, we'll post that separate. That's what I would do prior to this with a young pup. So if you got real young pups, or it really doesn't matter the age, I guess more the experience. If you're just first starting to track with them, it really doesn't matter if they're puppies or if they're 4 years old. I would start out the same way. I do these little fire tracks with them, and then I'd start lengthening it out. So all that stuff is in our Game Recovery DVD, and it's in our Game Recovery booklet that comes with the kit. So we'll go get Moja. We'll get her on this in a different part of the yard. I'm not going to go into that spot where we started and contaminate it up and make it confusing. So I'll go probably in the backyard, and we'll do some little short trails. Mason will be dragging for me, and I'll be sending Moja. So we'll go do that now.